Hey guys, Besa Gordon here. And look, I haven't done an interview at the radio station in a very long time. So I'm happy that I'm able to have a guest that you guys might know, but you might not know that you know, okay?
Mhm.
Right now, I have Brett Berish with me. In case you don't know, he is the president and CEO of Sovereign Brands, which, as you can see, look, he owns a lot of things that you guys already drink. Welcome, Brett.
Thank you, Besa. Thank you for having me on, and my family was right to your left.
Your family is very, very
That's
nice and very welcoming.
they're very inviting.
So, okay, let's start with Sovereign Brands. It's
Yep.
such a cool name. Where did the name for your brand actually come from?
My mom named it.
Really?
My mom named it. She said, "Why don't you call it Sovereign?" And the reason she came up with the name was my grandfather. Her father had a company or a brand called Sovereign, and I didn't even know what the hell it meant. And she's like, "It's a perfect name for you." And I went and I remember looked in a dictionary and it means to be on your own. It's like an island. Do your own thing, and it was perfect. And my mom comes up with great inspirations for me that I leverage all the time, and this is one of them.
So, you literally have the number one sparkling champagne right about now. Like,
Yeah,
there's no one that has at least not seen this bottle once
Belaire, baby.
their life, okay? And this is your flagship brand. So, can you tell us a little bit before we even get to the flagship brand? How did you get to creating that flagship brand? Like, what brought you into spirits?
Well, let me just first say you just hit it on the head, and Bel Air is now the number one single volume champagne brand in the United States. It's amazing. And I don't say that boasting. I say that for anybody who's out there listening, all my brands have one thing in common, Besa, and that's everyone told me you can't do it. It's not going to work. It's never going to happen. And look what's happened. So it's a great position to be in.
Why do you think that they told you that it wasn't going to work and that it was never going to happen? Like, did they try the product and they didn't like
It's
it? Like,
everything, when you're going up against big companies and people who have been in your it doesn't matter, it's in your space. In radio, as an example, everyone tells you your ideas are not good enough, they're not smart enough, they're not right. For Bel Air, we launched they're different. This is a different product. We launched in the champagne category. You start with a Brut, which is everyone's main line, and then you come out with a rosé and a demi second, a blanc de blanc. And we wanted to start with rosé, and they said, "Don't do that. It's never going to work." And then we said, "We're going to put it in a black bottle," and they said, "Don't do that. You can't see the liquid." And then they said our price point was wrong, and we wouldn't sell anything. Now we're the single biggest brand. Our rum, Bumbu, don't do it. Premium rum's not a thing. Now it's the single biggest premium rum brand in the United States. It's probably the biggest in the world. It's just, it's different. Everything is always different. There's a saying, I'll give you an example, a great one. There's a saying I just sent to my whole team that I read on the back of a tag that a clothing designer friend, Kid Super, has. And the saying, oh, wait, hold on. The saying is, can I tell you?
absolutely.
Wait, it is, if you have if your idea doesn't work, you're crazy. And if your idea works, you're a genius.
Mm.
Go for it. Just go for it. Go for it. Go for it. It works.
You know, I it's interesting that you said, if it does work and if it doesn't work, because I had a question for you. I'm gonna like skip around a little bit. Has there ever been a time in this career where you've done something, you thought it was a great idea, you thought you planned it out perfectly, completely tanked, but it actually ended up teaching you an amazing lesson that you would have never learned had you not tanked?
Uh, Bessa, my first brand is that. My first brand, which doesn't exist today. Nothing was wrong with it. It was a great product, great story, great everything. But I was young and naive, and everything I'm saying now, I didn't do back then. So I
Mm.
didn't trust my instincts. And when someone told me to change something, I'd change something. I try to be like the big companies and try to act like them. I wasn't me.
Mm.
And literally my entire success, my entire company's existence of being successful is based on all the failings, and that's not a bad thing, of that first brand, that first 6 years. And now 14 years, 13 years later, I'm still doing everything based on the mistakes I made in those first 4, 5, 6 years, everything.
Wow, wow, wow. And everyone is always so afraid to make a mistake. But yet it's like, how do you know? How do you learn if you're just always doing things perfectly?
Correct. It's like, well, in the music space, I'll give you an example, and I've learned this, and it taught me a lesson in the music space. I'm sure you've done this. If you ask any artist what their number one commercial hit was, they'll tell you. If you ask them, did you think it was going to be successful? They'll say no. Didn't
Mm,
like the song, didn't think it would ever do that. And that teaches me the same lesson I teach everybody. You got to throw it out there. You got to try things because you don't know. You don't, if you overanalyze it and overthink it and overdo it and overplan it, it doesn't work. Just let it go. Figure if it doesn't. And again, this was my mistake early on. I overthought it, overplanned it, overdid everything, stuck to everything I believed in. And you know what? Sometimes not having a plan is a great plan.
I love that because I even feel like in my life I've planned things, and I have an event called the Real Seattle Media Mixer where I bring in media professionals and business owners for networking. And there was one month where I had like 20 people come, and I was annoyed, but at the same time I was able to be like, okay, what did you do wrong
Correct.
here? And
Correct.
how can you fix this? And to where the next month I had over 150 people that came because I just really sat down with myself and I was realistic. Like, you didn't do this right.
Yeah, and it to me, and again, I treat everything as you can justify anything. You could have justified it and said, you know what, we did well, and it really worked. But the key is don't justify it. Rip it apart. Figure out what can I do? What can I do different? How can I do it better? So I don't ask like, what did we do good? I ask, how can we do it better? And
Mhm.
that's how I think. But it's all getting back to your question earlier. It's all based on I make mistakes. I try things. I tell my team all the time, try things, try things, try things. Don't, what my brother says this, what'll get you fired at any other company will get you promoted at ours.
And that's really what it is, because a lot of times these other companies are like, "I don't want your ideas," but a company like yours, just with the way your energy is in general, I feel like you would rather your people give you ideas and be like, "Hey, maybe we could do this a little bit better," rather than just being like, "Meh, stay in the corner."
Correct. And it's the same thing in the space that you know so well, which again, going back to music, it's one of the reasons why we're so active with all our brand ambassadors and all the people we work with. We're not we want people, it's based on energy and excitement, and they don't have to be the biggest in the world. They just be genuine and be authentic. And when we had Post Malone, when he had one song, we had G Herbo before anybody knew him, we had a Boogie. We had all these people that we just loved and believed in, and that's just as good as having a Rick Ross or a Khaled or a Wiz or a Wayne. Meaning, it's neat to be their early days, but that's
Now when
differently.
Now, when you say the all of the artists and the influencers that you believe in, is it really just a matter of energy and enjoying the brand is what you look for when you pick out the different people to, collaborate with?
There's no question, and it's come from again learning what to me is all organic today. I'm not. It's not based on data and look at who's hot today and look at the statistics and who's following who. Um, it's we want to build a relationship with that person. If that person, it's like a marriage to me. You don't marry somebody day one. You build up to something.
Yeah.
And that's what I want with these relationships. I want them to last a long time. I want them to be in place. Once you know somebody really well, you know what works with them, you know what doesn't. And the same thing with us. And I do, however, need that energy. I need people who love our industry and love entertainment and are not afraid and put themselves out there, have a big freaking chip on their shoulder. They got something to prove. I want the same type of feeling I have. Because you want like minds. You want
Yeah.
like minds. And we make not mistakes, but Sometimes people they get too big, as an example. They don't have times. That's fine. But I got to find people that I'm comfortable with, where it's an organic relationship that both sides win.
That's amazing. And, a lot of people are just like, I just want to win. So I just want people to make me look good. And you're like, we all can look good. Why not?
Exactly. Everyone should win. When I was asked this, when bad things happen, to those same people, I'm going to be there for them. Like, that's
Yeah.
the key. It's not just about the good stuff. I want to know that if something goes bad in somebody's life, I want to be there for them for the same reason if something happens to me. I'm hoping those same people show up. That's the relationships I want.
I love that. So let me go back to like kind of a question that I said earlier when you were talking about your first brand that did not do as well because you weren't being yourself and you were trying to basically do what others were doing. With all of your new brands being so successful, would you say that you were able to find yourself in that time? And that's what also was making it to where these new products were more successful because they represented you more?
100%. So my brands, my brand, everything from Ace of Spades, Douce, Bel Air, Bumbu, McQueen, our gin, our newest brand, Vion. It's all based on that. It's based on, in the beginning, I didn't have patience. I thought it should happen really fast. It wasn't until, and I'm very truthful about this, I lost everything. I lost all my money. I put it all in this business, and I realized, I had that epiphany moment. I realized, I love what I'm doing. It's not about the money now. It's just not, because I didn't have any, but I still liked it.
Yeah.
And then everything kind of slowed down. And now it's always been the same, where I trust my instincts. If anybody's going to screw this up, I want it to be me. I constantly, I want people who have the same energy. It's all based on that. It's the brands. I don't, it's, again, I guess in music, and I always refer back to music. I think it's the same thing. Some artists, it took them 10 years to get there, but they got there.
Yeah.
Some artists, it took day one, they got there. So I'm gonna have some, but at the end of the day, I believe all my brands will get there. So
Yeah.
some will go fast, some will go slow, but that's okay. That's okay, because I love what I'm doing, and I blood, sweat, and tears in these brands, and I want people to recognize that they're very special, and it's their self-made hero. This is what they want.
Yeah. Speaking of that hero, and just your brands, like your brands literally have their own vibe and their own voice to them. As someone that has so many successful brands, do you feel like you really create your brand, or does the consumer create the brand?
It's it's both. It's a great question. I like that. It's a combination. So to me, what's in the bottle. If I use Bumbu, my rum, I wanted a taste that's better than our competition. I wanted something that's unique and different. Nice, and you're empty. You're empty. That's not clear liquid. That's empty liquid.
No, it's empty. We drank that.
But I wanted a better tasting product, and I wanted a better story. And all my brands have the same thing, where I can't launch it in the market unless I feel like it's better than what I'm going up against. But once it gets out there, I don't know what I have. And the market and the consumer is the one who tells me. He or she tells me where to go, or who's interested in it, or who wants to get on board. So Wayne loves this brand. He's interested in it. I didn't approach him. Wayne loved the brand and wanted to be a part of this. It wasn't part of the plan. Or Belaire. We've got these groups out there: Bel Air Boys, Black Bottle Boys, Black Bottle Girls. That started with consumers. We embrace that. We own what the consumer did, and we see its success that way. Bumbu in Canada. I love this story. Canada is our single biggest market in the world outside the US, and no one from our company has ever been there.
Wow, how do you think that happened?
They took hold of it. And so to me, some people, I want to embrace that's the key to life. Embrace your fans, embrace your consumer, whoever they are, no matter where they come from, no matter who they are, embrace them. And because I'm embracing that market, I'm saying, okay, you like me, I like you. Let's go do something, and let's keep feeding that. In the country of Latvia, I had to look on a map to see where it was. We're the fastest growing brand in the whole country. It's not like they're a rum market, but I embraced it because they love the brand. And if you do that, you can always win.
I love that. Now, I remember this one's empty also, but
Yep. Love that.
you have a poem back here. Can you tell us a little bit about this poem and what made you decide to put that back there?
So this is McQueen and the Violet Fog. It's our gin. It's amazing rating, amazing gin from Brazil, little town called Jundiaí outside of São Paulo. 21 different botanicals. There's this poem. I think we're the only brand in the world to have a poem on the bottle. And there's two, what do they call it? Stanzas, and there's 4 total if you go on the website, but there's 2 on the bottle, and it's about this rock and roll band called McQueen and the Violet Fog, and that's the brand. It's got, like you said, Besa, every brand has got a story to tell, and this one's kind of this dope ass rock and roll band. It's got this eye in the crown, which is kind of like the Illuminati. It reminds me of Steve McQueen, who was an idol of mine, a badass. It's just a cool brand, and all my brands have stories to tell, and this one is a rock and roll story that it's its vibe.
Speaking of stories, when I did my unboxing, I only put it on TikTok, but when I pulled this one out, I was like, this bottle.
Oh, thank you.
Your liqueur. Can you tell us a little bit about the liqueur and also the logo? Like I'm like born the year of the snake, so I seen that and I absolutely got excited.
So this is my youngest child. It's called Vion. It was just launched last year. It competes. If you like cognac, you're gonna frickin' die over this. If you like Remy, Hennessy, Cavassier, anything, you're gonna love this. It's called Villon. It was named after Francois Villon, who was 14th century French poet who was an iconoclast. He went against the grain. He was a Renaissance man. He was different. He was ultimately killed by a monk with a dagger. The sword and the snake represent the brand. It's just a cool brand, and it's you don't even need to mix it. You could just drink it on its own. But it's a great. Have you tried it yet?
I haven't opened it yet. These 4 have not been opened yet.
Well, you'll get there.
I did what's so crazy about your gin is I usually do not like gin,
Yep.
but I was like, you know what? Just looking, first of all, the bottle is heavy.
Yep.
Okay. So it's like the bottle is quality. I've never seen a cork like this. That's quality. And the logo just really was like, wow, like this is gonna be a moment. So I tried it and then I added like a little spritzer water to it with some ice. And I was like, wait a minute.
And you're my favorite type of consumer because I love changing the habits of consumers. Somebody who says, I don't like gin, I don't traditionally drink gin. It's a great brand, and you notice things that are very cool to me and important. The top is actually weighted. I want things to feel expensive. I want ultimately, I hope you don't throw out the bottle when it's empty. You want to do something with it.
Oh, I'm not. I'm putting all in it.
But even other, you mentioned the consumer, do they dictate? I was with Wiz Khalifa, who's a huge gin fan, and he's like, Brett, I love your gin. Let's do shots. I'm like, shots of gin? I've never done that. And I did a shot, and everyone should be doing gin shots. Forget tequila, do gin shots. It's amazing.
I did a gin shot, and tequila, it can really hit you at the back of the throat. But this, I was like, wait a minute. I did not expect anything.
It's amazing. Do gin shots all day long. So, but I got some great brands and hopefully some more coming. So we're just getting started.
I'm excited about that. Now there's one more. It's a blue one. Do you plan on creating another one of these?
Bel Air Blue. So this is, I got my own here. Bel Air Blue was meant to be, if you ever look at the bottle, everybody, it says limited edition on it. And this is one of those examples of that my trade thought we were nuts to do something like this. And I wanted to do this. It's the single hottest brand in the US, probably. It's hard to find. It's amazing. So at this point, we're going to keep this. This is now our 5th cuvee, part of the Bel Air family. But right now we're focusing on these 5 cuvées because we got it all right now.
So, I would love to know, like, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I seen an interview. I can't remember what it was, but when I do edit of this, I'm going to clip it in there because the quote was amazing. You said, it's about, can you do what you want to do? That's the goal. Can I do what I think about? Can I do what I want? I'm curious to know how Brett manifests his thoughts, dreams, and overall visions into reality.
Bess, I wish I could tell you it's something that's always been ingrained. It's not. I'm a work in progress. Everything you just said is my goal, and I'm trying to achieve that. It's been a process of 20 years, more than 20. I was the kid who unfortunately didn't know what he wanted to do. And that sucks to position to be in, but it had lots of ideas, which is even worse because then you don't know what to do and you don't pick any. I found something I loved, and what I realized is I will always have more ideas, but the goal is to be successful. What I'm currently doing, which allows me to do more, and that's what I want to do. I want to keep doing as long as I've got a new idea, and that product is better than the competition. I want to get it out because I want to see myself if we can make it work.
I like that you said competition because I know a lot of people. They have this saying of there is no competition. You are your competition. And I personally do not agree with that, but I would love to know your thoughts on that as someone with a whole lot of successful brands. And you're like, look, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I sent an email to my team saying, say the quiet part out loud. And to me, what that means is I want to go after my competitors. I have to have somebody to point to because they don't like me. They don't want me competing. And that's the Moets and the Voobs and the Zaccapas and the Hendricks of the world and the Hennessy's. And I want to crush them. They're the 800-pound gorilla. And if I don't have that attitude, I'm not going to get there because we're the underdog. And we're the ones who we're doing things differently. We're the next generation, or my brands are the next generation. So I think it's healthy to say it out loud, to have something on your shoulder that you can say, this is where I'm going and I'm going to get there. Because to me, it shows that 19-year-old Brett Berish who thought that he can't do it. You can 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 do it.
Everything is possible as long as you try. It's not possible if you don't try.
Yep. You gotta trust your instincts and go for it.
So let me ask you about Selfmade. First, let's talk about the podcast. Well, actually, what does Selfmade mean to Brett Berish?
It means, and it all came about, Besa, because if you go on our Instagram or you see people with our brands, they're always holding a bottle. And to me, it made me realize they're doing what I do, which is this is a trophy. They've done something, they've achieved something, they feel good about themselves. And to me, it's a self-made moment. I've done something. There's definitely, I've got a whole team who's been with me, or my family who's been with me, or people like Ross who's been with me, and I need them. But it's that I've done something moments, and that's what Selfmade is for me. And I think people should have those moments where they feel like I've done it, you've done it, you've created it. That's what it means.
So let's talk about your show Selfmade, because it's a marketing campaign, but it also has a lot of amazing interviews with people whose music I listen to, people who I follow on social media. So can you tell us like a little bit the idea behind the marketing, which is the show, and then how you're picking your guests?
So it started, like I said, everything we do is organic. So there's not generally a plan, but it started as I wanted to talk to people who I admire. Some were huge at the time, some were just beginning, some are in the middle, if you want to, and I didn't want to hear, I don't get don't get motivated by people's successes. I get motivated by hearing all the crap they went through, because then it feels like I can do it too. That's what motivates me. And I think my first interview was Post Malone, and uh, little like Post story was like, one little anecdote is he's talking about when he was in high school, and he sees that his dad would wear suits all the time, and he wore suits, and he's wearing suits in high school, and everybody's making fun of him, and everyone's ripping on him because he's different.
Yeah.
And that little nugget is, I think people who like him or appreciate him or see it being different sometimes can work against you, but embrace that. And I've gotten to talk to and interview everybody from Wayne to Young Thug to Steve Aoki to Nipsey to Fat Joe. I love the music space because I just think they're individuals, especially in the hip hop world. It's usually one person, and my God, that's a difficult thing. In rock and roll, you've got a group, and it's, at least you've got a team.
Yeah.
But
and a band.
it's just you. Yeah. I interview everybody from influencers to business people to sports people. They all have a story to tell, and I want to get to that grind part, because that's what's motivating.
I'm curious to know, with all of these motivating people being on your show, is there like any particular person that came on that impacted you to where you were like, I am never going to forget this quote or this moment?
They all do. They all have, it's Nipsey showing up, and and it's just him, and he's 10 minutes early, and him telling me stories about how he had to, in Compton, you got to pop your trunk, Brett. You just got to do it. And I didn't know what that meant. And he's explaining it to me. And that's what it is. Or it's Russ saying, he'd go on like SoundCloud, and he'd follow his fans. And he saw his fans were in Washington. He went to Washington. He built around his fans. He went to the Middle East. They thought he was Middle Eastern, and he built around his fans. To Fat Joe, and telling stories, not from getting to there, but all the, he lost everything a couple times while he was up on top. So they each have stories. The new one I interviewed, his name is Aspect Xavier, told me he's now becoming a singer. He's a dancer, very, very talented. But he said, I just got a new apartment, and I got my furniture, but it's not fully decorated. And I asked him why, and he says, because I want to feel comfortable. I can't. So all those little things are just nuggets that I love that energy. I need to hear that. It motivates the hell out of me.
I love it. And it's like, it's always great when you see people that are in such an amazing place in their career and in their business. And it's like, I can still be motivated. You know what I mean? I can still learn. I can still be inspired. Like, that's an amazing quality to have.
But it's also fun because, I think if you ask that question to people, I'm sure you have, would you change anything? Right? 99% of the time they say no, And I remember interviewing Tyrese, and I asked him that. He said, hell yeah, I'd change everything. It sucked. I wish I would have learned. I would have changed, So it's good to hear the opposite. It's healthy to hear that, because you're going to pick up. He's right. In some ways, God, I wish I could have changed certain things. I wish I could have done some things differently, because it would have been a lot easier and I could have gotten there faster. But I think also that side's healthy to hear.
Especially in like a world of social media where everything is so perfect, and it's, it's airbrushed, it's face tuned, it's edited, it's clipped, it's tipped, it's tied up in the back. So to like hear someone that you look up to, and you've just like, oh my goodness, this music has gotten me through X, Y, and Z, but to hear them be like, man, things were fucked up for a second.
But to me, and I'm sure you've experienced that in your interviews, it sucks talking to people who do. It's too beautiful. It's too perfect, because I don't know how to relate to that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's real. And I just, I need to hear that come up side. I need to hear the crap you went through, because to me, that if it's all perfect, I don't know how to relate to it. It sucked for me. It sucked. And I'm going to tell people it sucked, because I think that's the part that gets the other side to say, well, Jesus, he can do it. I can do it too.
Yeah. Like even me getting in radio, I started on the street team. I told everybody I started out slanging tents, freaking handing out tickets and stickers. And now I'm in 5 cities. I'm on the Recording Academy board. Like I'm doing a lot of good stuff now.
And
So
that's self-made. And that's self-made. That's getting the crap done, doing it yourself. You had to start somewhere. It's not easy. And you keep parlaying that and building that, and you get to do more and more. And that's the goal.
yeah. Let me ask you this before I let you go. Which of your products do you prefer to wind down with on a Friday night?
Oh, good question. It's I've said this before. I'm a mood drinker.
Mhm.
I don't drink based on the food. I don't drink based on the time. I drink based on what I'm feeling. What's that emotion? What's going on? What I feel like. Right now, I'm doing vion. We call it the Villon, which is half vion and half
Mhm.
Bumbu cream, which is our cream-based rum, and I mix the two. We call it the Billionaire. And Besa, as an example, a consumer told us that was their idea. They mixed it, called it a Billionaire, and we said we love it. We're going to start using that as our own recipe.
And that's one of you, like, adapting what your consumers like and bringing it in and
Follow the
accepting it.
consumer. Exactly. Follow the consumer. They're much, much smarter than you'll ever be.
And then they'll literally tell you, "This is what I like. This is what I don't like."
Yep. And it's great. I mean, they're your fans. So you got to learn about them and appreciate them and see what they do with it, and you can figure it out. And again, it's interesting. If you look at our social media, we have more followers than most all liquor companies. That's because to me, we're connecting with people, and we're bringing them into our fold. They're bringing us into their fold, and we're gonna hug them right back.
I love it. And if there was anyone that is watching this right now and you could give them one piece of advice because they want to start their own spirit, what would it be?
It has nothing to do with spirits. If you're going to do something on your own, take my attitude. If someone is going to screw it up, it better be you. Don't change your views based on what other people say. You got to trust your view. You're getting into it for your reason. If it doesn't work, own it.
Love it. This might be one of my favorite interviews that I did this year.
You're
I
too
told you it was gonna be good.
You're too nice.
I wanna thank you so much for chatting with me, Brett. Hopefully everyone not only got to learn about your spirits, but also just learning about branding, you know what I mean? It's like, you are so much more than just someone that sells drinks and things. Like, you have a whole lot of wisdom that people can use in just more than one way, which is really, really dope. So I'm happy that we were able to share this.
I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you. Anything I could possibly do, we'll bring you into our family. So you're now one of us.
Yay!
Anything I could possibly do, please ask. All right.
Absolutely. I would love to have you come to Seattle at some point.
I'd love it.
Love to come down to where you guys make the drinks and do a whole special on that. I am down.
I love it. We'll make it happen. I promise.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Brett. I can't wait to see you in person.
Thank you, Besa. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.